Hi there Virgo, thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for September. This month begins with a very potent solar eclipse in your sign. This is going to give you enormous drive and energy for the next 6 months. You have an opportunity from this to take a much firmer grip on your life direction. But unfortunately, this is a solar eclipse which is compromised by the ongoing right angle between Neptune and Saturn that I've been mentioning in my weekly forecasts ever since the middle of May. What this means, therefore, is that anything that you do want to drive forwards with, you need to be mindful of how this is going to influence you in terms of your home, family, and emotional structures, and also around relationships. The reactions that you get from other people around some of your goals, ambitions and aims may not all be very encouraging. Some may be actually quite muted. So as you go into this period of time, although the solar eclipse is going to be encouraging you on, you do need to be mindful of the potential for these politics. Now, right at the start of this month, Venus is also in the part of your scope to do with your everyday resources. And I'm hoping that you're going to see an increase in your income. There's every chance you will, but this is going to be boosted amazingly but positively when Jupiter moves from your sign on the 9th into Libra, where it's going to be for the next year. It joins up with Venus here, and this is just going to create an even greater feel-good factor when it comes to your everyday resources. Ironically, from the 9th to the 13th, however, Venus is squaring up with Pluto, the planet of politics, which is in the part of your scope to do with passion, love, romance. I think it's possible that someone can enter your orbit around these 3 or 4 days, and this person could have a very, very potent aura around them, and you may be tempted to get up close and personal, because Venus is in a very sensual location in your 2nd solar house. If it's what you both want and you both have the same understanding of what the relationship would be, then this could be a very, very exciting time. If it's not, and you're even discussing finances with someone around your creative talents, be really careful about what their true motivations are, because someone may be a bit artful and tell you what you want to hear, but actually all along they're plotting to gain something from your labour or your affections. So just be aware of that, despite the arrival of the upbeat energy of Jupiter. Now, there is also going to be a sensational link between Venus and also Mars, which starts to shape up in week 3. Now, Mars also is forging a fine link with the planet of surprises, which is Uranus, from the 11th through to the 22nd. I think for you, here, there may be something to do with a property matter or where you live, which may require you to make some kind of snap decision or be a bit more galvanised in your approach. If you are, you might find it will work out really quite surprisingly well. But how this comes about may be quite dramatic, sudden, and require snap decisions. On the 16th, however, there is an opposition. There's a lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, where of course Neptune is. And this one squares up with Mars. Mars is also in the part of your scope to do with where you live, your emotions. So I think there is, in the next 6 months too, if you're trying to make something work for you in terms of a romantic situation, but at the same time be very single-minded about your own goals, some kind of give and take is going to be necessary. If your partner or the person you get to know over this next half year is not very nurturing or supportive, there could be some jagged edges that you're going to have to negotiate between you. Now, the Sun then goes on to move, but perhaps the most important elements of the 22nd is the fact that Mercury, the planet of communication, and of course your ruler, which has been twisting backwards right since the end of last month, well, that starts to go forwards. Now, Mercury retrograde does have a bit of a bad reputation. Now, it's true that anything to do with air traffic controllers, ports, docks, train systems, these things all seem to get affected when Mercury's in retrograde. But also, Mercury's an opportunity when it's twisting backwards to revise our approach to things, to think again, to look at something in a fresh light. And if something you do try at the start of this month doesn't seem to go forwards in quite the way you would like, don't give up on it. Be philosophical. It's actually protecting you in a way, because once you do find exactly the right thing to move forwards for you, I think things will start to skyrocket forwards in a much more dynamic way. Now the Sun then moves into Libra too. Again, your awareness to resources is reinforced, just like with Venus and also Jupiter. And maybe there is going to be some kind of increase just then in terms of your income. For some Virgos, I think there's going to be an opportunity to work from home, you know, or do some kind of part-time role that can pay off surprisingly well. It could be linked to a family member, or just be an idea that someone in your clan comes up, which is actually quite inspirational. Now Venus then moves for you into a fantastic location on the 24th, one which is going to help you to be a lot more delicate and refined in your communications. Mars then moves on the 28th into Capricorn. Now that's good for you too, at least at this stage. And Venus and Mars continue to collaborate very helpfully, but in a way which I think is much more productive in terms of your love life. And if you are wanting things to take on a bit more drama, or to go out and have some fun, then I think the last few days of this month perhaps is for it, because I think before then your focus is going to be on driving forwards those core goals. But when it comes to relationships that are ongoing, you do need a degree of cooperation, collaboration, and give and take for things to make progress. And that comes from you as well as anyone that you're closely involved with. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Virgo. Thank you for joining me. Good luck, and goodbye for now.